Hi, Sean Lewis here again. So after my first post, my very good old friend Cheryl Sheraton asked me to consider the topic, where is the power of the pen? And I thought, it might be a little challenging, but let me try to answer that question. So let me try here now. So there is a saying, a blade of grass can alter the path of a storm. In plain English, that simply means that small things can have a big impact. It comes down to the small things we do year today, like casting our vote, can have a big impact on the politics and the decisions that shape our world. There are a number of cool examples from the world of politics, and I didn't only want to talk in terms of metaphors, but there's a number of cool examples from the world of politics. In 2018, for example, in Malaysia, small things like the individual acts of political participation, as well as grassroots advocacy and local community organizing, resulted in a change of government that had been in power for 61 years. 2018, the Malaysian government was changed because of a number of small actions, included individuals casting a vote. 61 years. Compare that 61 to our 30 years. In 2020, Lucinda Ardern won her second term as Prime Minister of New Zealand in a landslide victory for the Labour Party. This again was not only the result of major strategy and high-powered decision making, but also small things like mobilizing voters in local communities, and also community-based initiatives and local advocacy. So there were a number of small things that contributed to that victory, but it was a major victory for the Labour Party and a major victory for Lucinda Ardern. 2008, Barack Obama won the US presidential election. Again, small things like the adoption of social media and grassroots mobilization, which led to an historic victory. So whether we love Barack Obama or not, the victory of Barack Obama in the USA in 2008 was an historic one. And it was a culmination of small things. I mean, who would have thought at that point when somebody here, that maybe we should use Twitter as an organizing tool in 2008, that would actually generate so much of a groundswell of support for Barack Obama that he could actually win the elections. The first black man to do so in the US. So, coming back to the power of the pen and Cheryl's question. The pen is a small thing. But when you wield the power of the pen in an election, whether it is a local election or a national election, that little wielding of the pen can contribute to altering the path of the storm of economic decline, executive incompetence, and organizational corruption. Imagine you with your pen having the power to change the path of our current history. Because our current history is a storm. It is a storm of decline. There is no question that South Africa is in a state of decline. We're in decline in terms of our economy. We are in decline in terms of our infrastructure. We are in decline in terms of our education. We are in decline in terms of our hospital, our medical care. So we are in decline. We are in decline. We're just not generating enough wealth to be able to sustainably maintain this population. That's what decline means. Because of that decline is incompetence in execution of plans, executive incompetence, and organizational and individual corruption. Die mense is skelm. Hulle steel ons geld. So but they're not just stealing our money, they're stealing our future, and they're stealing the future of our children. And that is a storm that we have the power to stop. We can change the course of that storm and make it go in a different direction. When you wield the power of your pen in elections, that little flutter of your pen on the balance sheet, on the balance sheet, praat ek soos 'n accountant en ek weet niks van accounting af nie. That little flutter of your pen on the balance sheet can cause a hurricane, a tornado of change to sweep across our country. Again, small thing. You walk into a little hall somewhere in your neighborhood, and you go and stand in that queue, and then you get a piece of paper and you make an X in a block. Just that. That small thing has the power to change our world. So when I talk about the power of the pen, that is what I'm talking about. That small things multiplied, compounded by other small things is what has the power to change our world. If you think about the fact that 60% of our population is under 35, the youth, and only 20% of that eligible population actually voted. Imagine if young people decided, when it is time to stand up for ourselves and take control of the situation. Can you imagine the power of that pen? 10% of those people that are not participating in elections. Young people on their own can steer the direction of this country. But it requires each individual young person to pick up the pen. And that is the power of the pen. Cheryl, I hope I've answered your question. Thank you.